You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Turn After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Turn After Show.
Hey guys, we're gonna talk real quiet. How's it going? Welcome to AfterBuzz TV, your one and only spot for after-show entertainment. We are here for Turn After Show, Episode 6, Mr. Culpeper. I'm your host, Ryan Hooks, Captain Ryan Hooks to be precise. Joining me on the panel today, we have a very lovely and talented co-host, as always, General Kristin Carole.
Hey guys.
Lieutenant Megan Salinas.
Hey there.
Sergeant Dillon Chance.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, and we are here to talk
and
about
guys,
Turn.
I have your special caller for you.
Hey, we're gonna start this show off with a
Yay!
bang. We have Samuel Roukin coming in on the line.
Hey guys,
Whoa, hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
We are great. We just started. Great timing.
Good. I'm a big fan of you guys. I've got to tell you.
Oh yeah, we're a
that's
big
awesome.
fan of yours. So thank you for
That's very
coming.
nice. Look, it's a mutual loving.
Well,
I listen to you every Monday and have a really great time. You know, I watch you on the old YouTube. It's great.
Oh my gosh, that's
we,
so
we
cool.
can't decide if we love you or hate you. Simcoe, that is.
Well,
we love you.
Yeah, I mean, I consistently get people coming up to me in everyday life telling me that they want to punch me in the face. No one's actually followed through with that promise yet, but as long as they are suggesting it, I know something's working, so I'm really happy, yeah.
Yeah, that's how you know you're doing a really good job.
That means
Yeah,
you're gonna get an
hopefully.
award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone loves someone to hate. And that's great that you do such a good job at making us hate you.
Is that strange for you to now walk down the street and because people are starting to recognize you as this character, has it been a big change where you're like, don't hate me?
Well, it's actually because there's the whole wig and the coat. Mm-hmm. Actually, there's not been. Luckily, you know, not a lot of people have been too freaked out, or kind of. No, there's not been a lot of people kind of noticing me because I think, you know, without the wig and without the coat, it's such a departure from what I look like normally. But I was at the doctor's the other day, and it was actually for my son. And we were about to get into all the business with my son, and he said, "Listen, we'll get to that in a minute. But I've just got to write, are you Simcoe?" and I said, yes, I am. And then he launched into his whole enjoyment of Turn and Simcoe and everything. And I was like, okay, but we're here for my son, thanks. So there we are. But yeah, so not a huge amount, but I tell you what happens a lot is I get a lot of strange looks.
Like they
You know,
recognize you, but they don't.
Well, or they just don't want to talk to me. Like across a Starbucks line, you know, someone will just look at me like I'm the enemy. And I think, oh, good, it's working. And then if I'm really kind of up for playing with it, I just smile at them. That sort of does it, really.
And then they avert eye contact and they're like, oh God, he saw me.
What? So you made your appearance back this week after a couple of weeks off, which we were glad to
That's
see your
right.
return, and you came back with a vengeance, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight back to business, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. Your killing instinct is there. So what can we expect from you in the coming weeks?
I have to tell you, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Ooh.
And I don't want to give anything away.
We don't want you to.
It's sort of he continues in the same. I mean, we're going to see. This is a man who doles out his own kind of justice whenever he feels like it, and also, you know, without giving anything away, Simcoe's a man that can hold a grudge.
Well, and we know that he's going back and he's going to be meeting with Anna pretty soon, and we saw that he has an interest there. And I was reading about Simcoe in real life, and then you even talked about that he wrote like one of the first like kind of romantic poetry. Is that correct? And is that something that
the first recorded Valentine's poem
That's what it was,
What?
Valentine's
on
Day.
record.
From Simcoe? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Is that something
And it
we'll
was
see
and it
incorporated?
was to a local woman on Long Island.
Ooh.
Whoa.
I hope it's to Anna.
And we don't know, do we? We don't know who it was. But I just think it's lovely. It's so nice, isn't it?
It's such a
It really
stark
rings through with the
contrast.
romantic that Simcoe is.
It's such a stark contrast because we saw him stab a man at the dinner table, and then
Right.
probably in a couple hours he'll be writing Valentine's poetry. Oh my
Well,
goodness!
I think, and you know, it is funny when you say it like that. It sounds so strange, but the thing is, I think that's why, Simcoe has this sort of mystery to him, and also there is, undeniably, he has a sense of humor. And if we go into the history of Simcoe, JJ was telling me that actually Andre and Simcoe had the theater company together at one point. And this is, the reason why I think these characters are working on screen is because, apart from the fact that they're in a war, and we have, good guys and bad guys, the invaders, the occupiers, and the American spirit rising up, they're still human beings within all of that, with real thoughts and real feelings and real emotions and real, everything that we go through now, they were going through then, just in the context of this incredible time. And I think, why not? Why can't Simcoe be a romantic? Why can't he be a poet? He wrote loads of poetry, and I think it's okay, and it makes a lot of sense to me, certainly as an actor approaching it, to have a guy that's excellent on the battlefield and ruthless, and yet also with a real love of literature. I think that makes for a fully rounded human being, and that's why it's so much fun to do.
Now, and that's what makes for really interesting characters to watch too. Is that it would be so lazy if they were just, in terms of like writing, if they were just painted as, oh, these are the good guys and these are the bad guys. But that just really displays how well the show is written and how well you guys play these roles. It's really fantastic.
Yeah, and it's all in the writing, and I think it creates that little bit of ambiguity, amongst all of the characters. And, no one's completely innocent in any war, obviously, and certainly in this war.
And what brought you about to playing Simcoe? Because I know a lot of people like to know how actors got involved in shows. So how did you come across the script or even an audition for it? Did you know this is who you were going to be in the show, or did you audition for somebody else? I always like hearing those stories.
Well, I've been in America for a couple of years. It was my second pilot season, and this was the very first script that was sent to me during pilot season. And I read it and loved it and wanted to be in it immediately. And it was just by chance, because I'm based in the New York area, and it was just by chance that the producers and the creator of the show, Craig Silverstein and Barry Josephson, had just come back from a location scouting trip, I think, in Canada. And they had a stop-off in New York, and they said to AMC, can you set up some casting sessions in New York since we're going to be there? So my first audition was for Craig and Barry, which is really unheard of. You don't usually get to meet the producers at your first audition, and the guy that created the script from Alex's book. So I went in there, and initially my first read was I think it was a scene. It was one of John Andre's scenes. Was the first thing I read, And I was later told by Barry that I just freaked him out so much in that audition.
So he's like, so
the
you're not
writing
John
was
Andre.
on the wall there and then. But we had a great time. I was in there for ages, you know, and we were really kind of working it through and like coming up with ridiculous ideas for, you know, just really playing with the script. And then I got really excited because when you have producers who typically are the guys in suits, you know what I mean? But when you have producers who are really creative and actually pretty good directors, like you know you're on something special, and really that was it. And then I didn't meet them ever again except on set.
Wow.
The next thing I knew, I got a call, and they offered me Simcoe, and that was that. We were away.
Well,
That's fantastic.
I've always said that every great English actor has been in Harry Potter at one point or another. So
yeah, I was good. I was happy to sneak in there.
So you snuck into Harry
Yeah.
Potter at the very end, so it means good things for your future, I think.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, it's not that different, really, doing this job. You know, I get a wig, I get a lot of dirt in my makeup, and the only thing I don't have is a wand.
Not quite.
Not yet. That's what.
Not yet.
Maybe.
There's nothing. We don't know anything
Don't
in the
they have
history book. There's nothing in the
wands?
history books that says that Simcoe didn't have a wand.
That's true.
I mean, that's true.
I feel
I've
like if
never read
anybody could have had a wand in the Revolutionary War, it would be Simcoe, right?
I think we've got a campaign for it.
I'll start tweeting it out now. So you were talking about too earlier, you know, the comedy and then the way that Simcoe portrays himself. And we saw a couple weeks ago, you know, when he was a captive and he was egging everyone on and just kind of joking with people, still being held captive. You know, you see this cocky attitude about him. Do you think that, or will we see that continue, even though there's going to be more violence from him and more severity in his character?
Yeah, I think it's always there, you know. I think what's so dangerous about somebody like Simcoe is that he isn't afraid of what's around the corner. And he's a guy that really lives in the moment and is very decisive in that moment. And that relaxes him. He also has a superiority complex, you know. He thinks he's the highest status person in any room he's in.
Yeah. and
So
John Andre shot him down this week.
yeah, and gave him a dressing down for it, and quite right. It's very bad table manners, isn't it? And so despite the stakes as the season goes on, the stakes get higher and higher. And yet, yes, the man keeps his sense of humor. I think that's important. But the situations get a little stickier as we move forward. You'll see.
I have a quick question for you. When you're on set and you're not shooting, do you stay in character to keep the other actors scared of you?
How method are you, Samuel?
Well, no. But the thing, I mean, you have to, if you ever get Heather Lind on the show, she's a good person to ask that question to about me. Because this is what happens on set. Heather Lind, who's now a very good friend of mine, will be on set, and she plays Anna Strong, just to make that connection for everybody. And we'll be on set, and I'll just be looking at her, but for no other reason than just to say hi or something like that. And she'll come over and say, "Stop looking at me like that. It's freaking me out." I was just trying to be nice, say hello. So I think sometimes I don't even know that I'm doing it anymore.
It's just the way my face is.
It's the wig and the coat. It's the wig and the coat.
It must be. It's not me, is it?
No, not you.
So were there any practical jokes then that happened on set?
No, but there's a lot of giggling, you know. And I have to say, I really enjoy, you know, because on your show, I know that you have a thing about when people say the word turn.
Our
You know,
pun.
there's this like, oh, we said the word turn. I have to tell you, that happens to us as well.
Yes.
because in our show, like, of course, that word is going to come up all the time. and quite often we've had to retake stuff because we can't hold it together when we say turn. So I just want you to know that we're in good company.
All right.
That makes me so happy.
Dillon's happy about that.
Yeah.
know we were telling-
And there has been a couple of occasions when we've done it straight into the camera, just for good measure.
I hope those are like
For the DVD outtakes.
Yeah, when the Blu-ray comes out, I hope I get to see
I
that.
think there's a blooper reel somewhere with
Yes.
stuff like that on. Yeah.
We should get a turn compilation reel. That would be fantastic.
Just
Yeah.
us
I mean,
saying
of course, there's
turn.
very few of those things because we're incredibly professional.
Oh,
Yes, that's all actors are.
same here.
For the show as well, how is it filming on location, and do you guys stay on set for the other scenes as well, or are they completely different days? How is the filming schedule like?
So the schedule, usually what they do is they, I was basically in Virginia we were all in Virginia, based in Richmond from like November, for like 5 months. And Virginia is just gorgeous and it's great, and people of Richmond were fantastic to us. But it was, it was the polar vortex, wasn't it? So it was freezing. And so the only thing about Virginia's never seen a colder winter, I don't think. I think we were all thinking we were going to get something quite gentle, and it was far from it. So the hard bit was that, all those Setauket scenes, that is a town right in the open air. It's all been built on a hillside.
Yep.
And so, it was sometimes the conditions were pretty brutal. And you'll see in the next episode, there's a lot of snow, and it's real. And we haven't got any more costume on than we've got on. So, that was, it's not digging roads, but it was still pretty brutal. But yeah, often often when we're on the stage, particularly, we'll come in and watch other people's scenes happening. We actually do that quite a lot.
Cool.
But what tends to happen is that you get all of your storyline bunched together in a couple of days. So even though your scenes might be spread out across the episode, for example, in episode 6 that we've just seen, all those scenes in that dining room, that was all done in 2 days. And then they get spread out in the edit. So that's kind of that's actually a good thing for actors, because you get to play out your story in one go, rather than jumping about. They try and do it chronologically to the actors, which is good.
So when you're watching the episode, do you like notice things that you see that maybe have been edited or added in post? Like CGI kind of things that you're like, wow, that wasn't there when we filmed.
All the time, In fact, when the crew all watched the pilot for the first time, episode 1, they all roared with laughter when Brooklyn Harbor came up, because everybody on set knows that it's just a field in real life.
And then the harbor's right behind it.
And so there's a lot of stuff that happens in post that is surprising and enhances it, and I think on the whole, like the post work has been excellent. All the sound and the music and all of that, when that comes in, it really just adds to it. And sometimes they can actually they can really kind of, in the edit, they can tighten scenes up. They can make the dialogue more zippy. They can do all sorts of clever things that, that's the beautiful thing about TV, is the amount of coverage you get, and then how they can tweak it all in the edit. It's very exciting to watch it actually for real, at home for the first time. Because I have to tell you, I'm seeing these episodes. I just saw episode 6 now for the first time.
Same
I've
as
never
us.
seen it before.
Well, since you just watched it, I was going to ask, besides you, of course, who is your favorite character on the show?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
We asked the tough ones here.
It's okay if you just want to say yourself. I understand.
I don't think I can pick a favorite.
Okay.
At this point, but don't you think the arrival of Washington's brilliant?
Yes.
Yes.
So
We've been talking
good.
about that for weeks.
We've been waiting for Washington.
Yeah, and so I think like each episode there is a new, like, Sackett.
Yeah,
What a
he came out
great
of nowhere.
character
So
Sackett
great.
is, you know?
Stephen Root, like, what a great addition. I'm a huge fan of his. So when I
He's a
saw that
wonderful
he
man
added him, like,
and
wow,
a great
this
actor, yeah.
cast just got better,
And so when
even better.
you know, when that and that's what I love about the show, is that it's attracting that kind of talent, you know, and it's just so exciting when we get people like Stephen coming on set. You know, we all get excited by these actors, and I think it raises everybody's game, you know, on those episodes. But I love seeing those characters come to life. I love Washington turning up, you know, and I feel like there's like an automatic reverence we have, don't we, to someone like Washington? And
Immediately.
you get sort of a human examination of the man, and I love it. I love all that stuff. So I'm enjoying that at the moment. I actually thought the episode last week, which focused on the slave issue, was beautifully done. A brilliantly written episode, and you know, Adara, who plays Abigail, what a brilliant character that is, you know. And I think that's going to develop as well.
I think too.
I'm really interested to see where that storyline's going to go. I don't know, but you know, it's a great character.
And we're getting even more of that this week with Jordan, the character of him and his interactions with Rogers. So he's being initiated into the Queen's Rangers.
There's another one.
Oh, yeah,
And there's
Rogers
full
is
of
good.
Rogers, Caleb.
All I think about is
Gnarly
Braveheart.
bearded men. They're fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, the bearded men are
I
awesome.
just think about Braveheart every time I
Well,
watch.
of course, you love the beards, Ryan.
Absolutely, I love the beards.
I love them too.
Listen, if you've watched any of my after shows over the last year, we'll talk about a beard at least once.
Are there, since all of these characters are so great, is there anybody you haven't gotten the chance to work with that you're really hoping you get to work with soon?
Well, Robert Rogers.
Right.
I've not had a scene with him yet,
Oh, that would be brilliant.
and I think that's going to be. I'm really hoping that happens at some point. I think that would be really cool, and I love working with. I had a great time working with Dan Henshaw, who played Caleb Brewster. Who plays Caleb Brewster? You know, it was you know, all that torture stuff. You know, we really hit a groove, and I'd love to do some more scenes with him. You know, but I mean, we've really been blessed with, like, you know, all of the regular characters on the show are such cool people, and really, you know, I have so much respect for everybody, just, you know, just acting wise, and things just cook. You know, people are working outside of the set, you know, very, very hard to really bring something to the table, and it you know, it's fiery on set. You know, the scenes are really hot, and so like working with JJ for the first time was great. You know, John Andre. We had a great time working together, and that scene around the dinner table, you know, it was a long day, and we really got into it. And you know, he's a great actor, and so I think Simcoe and Rogers meeting would be a good one.
And going back to you with Caleb, how was that torture scene? Because you must have had a lot of time in makeup and just dealing with all of the, you know.
It looks like it was harsh
because there were little,
conditions,
and fight scenes and stuff like that as well. How was that?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, Ashley Fetterman, who did the makeup, did such an amazing job on that, particularly, well, and, you know, she's done it throughout the whole season, but all of that kind of bruising makeup was like a whole, we worked on it for a whole day, just getting it as accurate as possible.
Man.
And then we had 40 minutes to get it on the day we shot it. Before we turned around and went and did it. And the great thing about, the reason why I loved working with Dan Henshaw so much is because we sort of gave each other permission to not hold back on the violence, really.
Whoa.
And, a lot of that stuff, you know, we weren't doing full impact punches to the face, but all of that stuff when I'm hanging up was, you know, he was really shoving and slapping me around, and I think it was good, you know. You know, you really react to that. So I trusted him, you know, like I knew
It
he
looked
wasn't going to
realistic.
actually hurt me. You know, he wasn't going to inflict real damage to me. So when you get that trust with actors, and you don't always get it, but when you do, you can really, really immerse yourselves and go for it. But that was a tough day, you know. It was freezing cold, and that water, once it's gone on the first time, it doesn't dry off.
Oh no.
So, but they were lovely. They had a lot of heaters around for me, which was very nice, and they kept bringing me in cups of tea.
Oh.
So that kept us going. But yeah, it's the fight. You know, like poor Jamie Bell has been pushed and pulled around
Every week.
for months. You know, I don't think he spends most of the episode on the floor in the pilot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Or in the cold.
Yeah, this
Tied
episode
to
too.
a tree this week.
So when Abe is really shuddering, he's really shuddering. It really is that
Oh, yeah.
cold.
Oh no, that stuff is usually for real. Yeah. But that's you know, in that respect, the polar vortex was very helpful because there wasn't a lot of acting required.
Oh.
Anyone else?
I think.
Okay. Well, Samuel, thank you so much for calling in. We'll let you get back to it, and we'll get back to our after show. Is there a place that the fans can find more information about you, websites, Twitter, that kind of stuff?
You can catch me on Twitter. It's a very easy handle at Samuel Roukin. I'm always tweeting stuff about the show, and you can catch me there. And thank you for doing such great analyses of the show.
Thank you for giving us something to talk about.
Thank you.
We're really grateful for a show like yours.
And
So,
hopefully
nice one.
season 2, fingers crossed. Have you guys heard anything about that? We haven't heard anything.
I know nothing.
He knows nothing.
We'll know when you know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Someone send in a
exactly.
spy.
But you know, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Well,
Fingers crossed for
well,
sure.
fingers will be crossed for sure. And again, thank you so much for calling in, and we will keep doing our good work, and you keep doing yours. And if you're ever in LA, swing by.
My pleasure. I'll speak to you soon.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There it is, guys.
Oh my
Woo!
gosh. I feel so cool right now.
Let's nerd out for a minute. There it is. Samuel Roukin, everybody. Agent Simcoe.
I just love how, like,
Right.
after, like, halfway through the interview, Megan, you start going, brilliant.
I liked when he talked about
It's rubbing off.
Major
rubbing
John
off on
Andre
you.
and your face lit up.
I like that. He said,
Yeah.
"Of course you like beards."
Of course, I do like beards. That is not a secret to anyone here. All right,
Dylan, you got a little
I
scruff
know.
going
I keep
on.
mine-
Dylan's
I
going to have, like, a beard by
I keep mine
episode 10.
short.
he can borrow mine. Anyway, let's talk about the episode. We have a lot to talk about and a little bit of time to do
there
it.
you go.
All right, first off, let's talk about iTunes because we're right to that point where we can break and go into it. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. You can check us out on the iTunes. You can check him out on the iTunes. You can check them out on the iTunes. AfterBuzz is all over the place. A lot of shows, like 75 or more shows right now, 100 countries.
Ton.
Yeah, and please I read a few off last week, and I checked this as of this morning. We didn't have any new ones. So
Gosh, we need more.
Well,
Love
people were
hearing from
listening
you.
to Hush.
The downloading of that. It's the place to find us all information about AfterBuzz, all of our shows. And if you want to find out more about AfterBuzz as well, you can tune in every Tuesday night, 10 o'clock on Oxygen to Marie Menounos' new show, Chasing Marie Menounos. They're talking a lot about AfterBuzz the last couple of weeks. And
It's
also,
so cute.
It's such a cute show.
I mean, I'm hooked. I'm not just saying that because I work here. I mean, but I actually do. I DVR it and I watch every
Find all
Wednesday
about Marie
morning.
Menounos, Kevin Undergar, our owners who make all this happen for you guys for free from us and for everyone to download. Check it out. All right, let's talk about this episode. What was your favorite part of this week?
Besides just talking to Simcoe.
Besides,
Oh
I'm
my
sorry,
gosh.
the episode number 6, Mr. Culpeper.
Mr.
not
Culpeper.
the
I
conversation.
really like that name, actually.
Mr. Culpeper?
Mr. Culpeper.
It's so
Samuel Culpeper.
I geeked out when Stephen Root was on because, like I had said,
Yeah.
I'm such a huge fan of his. But I think just a moment in the show, specifically, was actually when Simcoe stabbed the guy at the dinner table.
That was
Because
awesome.
I mean, I had a feeling John Andre knew that that's what was going on with this guy, but just all of a sudden Simcoe's just like, boop,
Done.
you're
At
done.
the dinner table.
Yeah.
I like that, and they never do that in TV or movies. Remember, it's always the let's put them in a cage and lower them slowly
Well,
into sharks.
and that was-
Yeah, there's
no one
there's
ever-
hardly an Indiana Jones moment
Yeah.
where he's like, I'm just gonna shoot you.
Yeah.
And you're dead. Done.
Yeah.
But oh gosh, but that was such a good scene too, just with the way the camera worked and everything, and the foreshadowing earlier. So yeah, that was a really good scene. For me, don't laugh at me. My favorite scene actually was probably the moments between John Andre and Abigail. Like, quit laughing at me. But actually. Actually, no.
Because you love him.
Come on, get it together,
You guys should
Why,
have heard
why are you
her
blushing?
Be professional.
giggling
Be
like a
professional.
schoolgirl.
We are professional on the show, and I giggle
I mean,
all
we're
the
not.
time.
You guys maybe.
But but I really liked this scene because it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Samuel just now, in that, you know, these are people. You know, they have well-rounded emotions, and even though, you know, again, you know, he's one of the bad guys, quote unquote, he's still a person, and he
a nice
still
guy.
likes to treat people well, and he's like, oh, there's a smile. You know, he still likes to be kind.
Well, and it's going to cause a lot of problems,
I
I
think
think,
so.
for Abigail. You
And
know,
yeah, it's-
doing laundry for Anna.
Yeah, it's hard to rat somebody out once you become emotionally attached, and if he's somebody who's going to try to make the people around him smile, you know, that's going to be hard for Anna. Anna in terms of, because I know she's dealing with the same things, but it's going to be really hard for Abigail.
Do you think that Andre knows something's going to happen and that's why he's probably being nice to her?
It's very possible. We've seen, you know, throughout this episode that he knows exactly how to read people. So, you know, if Abigail's already given herself away, it's possible he's playing her. So
Well,
that's
and he's
true.
already, he's not one of those like, oh, a woman can't do this because,
He's
you know, he's
enlisted
got
Philomena.
Philomena. So like, he can suspect that. I mean, it might be different because she's not technically a slave anymore, but maybe he wouldn't think that that would be part of it due to her station. But I don't think he would question the fact like that she's a woman. So I think he's a guy who sleeps with both eyes, you know, one eye open.
He's
Both
definitely,
eyes open.
he's becoming
Or
one of my
both eyes
favorite
open.
characters, I think. I like he's a little maniacal, a little bit sneaky, but like always on it, always knows the right thing to say. So there were so many good moments this week, though, man. I mean, we had the good moments with Ben Talmadge in Washington and talking about trust. You know,
That was so good.
and I was talking before. I love that Rogers is recruiting Jordan to be part of the Queen's Rangers. Like, so much happened this week. There's
This
so much
was
little.
a really good episode.
Ben looked so nervous when he was done. He was saying, I'm like, he probably like, man, I just gotta go like pee in my pants. I'm so nervous. I just told off General Washington.
Gotta go.
And we're done. All right, let's talk about that. Let's talk this week. We'll start off with the Ben Talmadge Washington scenario and all that, because we do get introduced to a couple of new characters. We get your good friend Stephen Root over there as Mr. Sackett, who is brought in by Washington to basically help coach Talmadge in what to do and how to spy. So what do you think his background is? Like, where did he come from?
Dodgeball, Idiocracy. No.
Yeah. That's from Office Space. That's where he got his background
Yeah.
from.
He knew
dodge
how to
wrench,
be
you can dodge a ball.
invisible.
He was a
Somebody took a stapler and he's just pissed.
Yeah. And now he's against them.
He's
Get rid of
spy.
him.
He's like, no more, no more.
And we've gone off topic.
And we've
Yeah.
lost everything.
No, but honestly, I think he probably, you know, I don't think he came from a military background as much as everybody else, because he even said a good spy is not somebody
not a
who's a
soldier.
soldier. And obviously, he's a guy that's kind of sitting there. He's writing ideas and coming up with different things. And
So he's more like a professor or like a thinker,
Yeah.
because he knows languages and how to translate, and he knows
well, and I tend to think, you know, a little bit of science thrown in there as well. Just, I mean,
psychology.
We saw
You know.
him with the egg. you know,
exactly,
and
that he's
write the
able to
message
do
in the
that.
egg.
So I'm very interested to see like how that works. The other thing that I didn't get with his character talking to Ben was like, oh, don't you know all these different languages because you went to Yale and whatnot? And he's assuming that also Abe would know this as kind of a simpleton farmer. So
But it just kind of shows that, you know, he's like, okay, so what level of, form of encryption are you guys using? Are you using this? Are you using this? And just
English.
the look on Ben's face, yeah, it's just like, this guy is a professional. And really, even though Ben and Caleb, you know, they had this really great idea, they really don't know what they're doing. You know, it kind of was a fluke that this worked at all without them getting caught.
But that's good though, because that gives us a future of, you know, what's going to happen with the progression of the show, and also, you know, the Culpeper and the secret names now, and how they're going to get messages, and it's going to really advance the secrets that they're getting. Hopefully, we'll win the war.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Let's hope that
I am cheering for the
Americans
Americans.
win the war.
I hope they do.
I mean,
really
but
Chris-
did they really win?
Kristen's wearing a British dress, so
I know. I did my Kate Middleton look
See?
today.
Did they really win is right. Who all tuned in? Millions of people watching a royal wedding. Did we win?
They are so cute.
Did we really win?
Anyway.
But I do. I love Washington. Like, there's this something about him. I mean, obviously they built him up for 4 or 5 episodes before we got introduced to him at the end of last week's, and even the actor that plays him, just he has a way about him that's very, there's a regality to him.
Khan.
Yeah, and there's something about like the way he carries himself, the way he speaks. So he's never rushed to speak. He always is thinking before he speaks and listening. And it shows he's an intelligent person and is trying to make the best opinions, the best options that are available to him.
And there's actually an interview with Ian Khan that's online, right? I can't remember the source, I'm afraid, but he was interviewed and he talked a little bit about finding the voice for Washington and, what it's like to approach this character who's a legend. And,
Right.
The fact that they're playing him a little bit younger, because we
I
all
like
have that
that.
picture of Washington in our minds, but, he's a younger guy. He's a rogue.
This
He's
was
a
early-
guy.
yeah, it was early in
He's
his life.
not a strategist, actually. That's something that's really notable about him as well. So he brings all that to the table.
This is before he got his wooden teeth.
The early Washington days.
He actually didn't have wooden teeth.
Was that not him? Who was that?
No, it was supposed to be Washington, but he actually didn't have wooden teeth.
That's all lies. All lies and propaganda created by the
Just like
British.
he didn't really chop down a cherry tree.
Well, okay.
Now you're just talking crazy.
All right, we
talk.
gotta get this show on the road. We gotta get moving here. So, and I like that.
You're blowing my mind right now. No,
The trust thing. I like the big issue with trust because we're going to see, I think, a lot of trust develop between Talmadge and Washington over the next couple weeks. And I think secrets are going to get out. So it's going to be good for us as viewers because we're going to get to hear those secrets. How he's getting his information and where it's coming from. We talked about Nathan Hale this week, one of Ben's best friends that was hung. But that's how he found out about Abe. And so there's a whole link of people. And we even learned about Lieutenant Terrence, who's the one who got stabbed.
Right.
There are multiple spies that he's working with, and there's a whole elaborate underscheme that we don't even know anything about yet.
and I like that he made Ben a major in order to.
So he's powerful enough to be in position to
Exactly.
command this, right?
Unlike, General Scott, who just, I feel like out of everybody, I mean, even, the quote unquote bad guys that we're not supposed to like, I feel like General Scott is the one that I'm always like really angry with.
you hate the
Get it
most.
together, Scott.
Yeah.
Come on, Scott, get your head out of your backside.
Yeah, because the other ones, at least they're funny.
Yeah.
there's some redeeming quality. I don't
Well,
think we've
he's
met
gone
that yet.
to a point. They're sending him to the front lines, so we will maybe not see him again. We maybe will, though. And this week, we also didn't see Anna very much at all.
Or we didn't see
And we didn't
Richard.
see Caleb. We didn't see Richard. We had a whole missing... That happens every couple weeks. They kind of overlay the plots.
I think that on the one hand, it's good as long as we don't miss them for too long.
Right, 'cause
because
you don't
they
forget about
did.
them.
I felt like the first 2 episodes, they introduced so many characters. And when you have that many characters, you can't show them every episode because then you start to you feel like their story's going so slowly. That something's being neglected. And I think they've done a good job at creating it so that the storyline is what matters and connects. And hopefully we see a lot of characters that way instead of being like, oh, we're going to put these people in because of this.
Yeah.
And what's good, though, is that, even when a character is gone, we notice. We're like, oh, where was Robert Rogers this episode? Even if somebody's story isn't being, highlighted, we still have it in
We
the back
think
of
about
our
them.
minds. And we're still like, well, what are they up to? When are they coming back? And we want to know. And when they do come back in, it's relevant. And everything is just weaving together really, really
And they
well.
talk about him as well, so it's not something completely distant. I mean, I love Game of Thrones, but like Game of Thrones sometimes, because it's such a huge realm, it's
Such a
not in
vast-
the same,
yes.
city area that, sometimes when you're watching, you miss Khaleesi or you miss,
To cross the
whoever.
continent,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly, and they don't talk about each other, so it still feels like it's definitely it's a close family.
And not
Yeah.
to say too much for people like Ryan, spoilers, but we probably didn't see Hewlett because he had a pretty rough week on Game of Thrones.
I saw him 2 weeks ago in Game of Thrones. Bern Gorman, shout out to him, rocking it on
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
He was
and
trending. It was really
I know.
great.
And he's even have Twitter. He's like the fan. They have a fan page from that I tweet at. And
Well, no,
they're
he
blowing
has
up.
a Twitter
Oh, does he?
now, I think.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he has one now. It just started.
And so he's trending, and he's like, "Oh, this Twitter thing is pretty cool."
That's awesome.
Like, look at that.
I'm gonna tweet at him now
trending.
for sure. Let's get him in here. All right, let's move on because we have a lot to cover. We have very little time, unfortunately, since we took so much wonderful time talking to Samuel. Quick time about Rogers, since we do segue right to him. I like that he's looking for ways to find people. He's incorporating Jordan, who's from the town. He's still searching after 4 months for Ben Talmadge. He knows now Ben Talmadge's name after last week, and I think he's going to use Jordan to find him. Anyone
he
disagree?
doesn't-
and now, he knows his brother now too, who's
Yeah.
on that ship. So
So we'll have
Yeah,
another
poor
character
Samuel.
introduced,
Yeah.
and but he doesn't know that Jordan has that in yet.
how much he has. But, you know, he's
Yeah.
using all avenues to get the information. And it just shows how far he will go and to what, to what he has to do.
Mm-hmm. No, and that was a good addition, kind of seeing it. I think we all kind of called, though, at the beginning of that segment that, Jordan was going to end up being recruited by Robert Rogers.
We saw right away.
Yeah.
As soon as he broke that stick
Well,
into pieces.
it was pretty easy.
Yeah, and how great was that whole scene together in terms of like the fight choreography and everything like that. That was pretty fantastic.
I know, it's definitely like a Fight Club moment where I was like, first rule of Holy Ground Brothers is you don't talk about Holy Ground Brothers.
Don't break it up.
Yeah.
That's all right. All right, so moving right along, we also saw a limited amount of interaction this week from Abe. We did see that he was traveling to New York with the Hogs. As he actually brought the Hogs because he said before that he wasn't going to. And maybe he realized that he needed those to actually get across the enemy lines. He has this forged letter, which I'm assuming he wrote everything out and copied it based on the previous letter so that he's looking legitimate and getting across the border lines. But he's captured by an unnamed soldier.
Yeah, we never know. We never know who this is.
Well, this is going to really change the game, too, because now he can't go by himself. So now he's going to have to bring someone with him every time he travels. So that's going to be tricky.
Yeah, that's going to make things really harder for him to maneuver. But on the one hand, it's also going to be really good at allowing him to keep his cover.
That's true.
Like, if nothing else, this has kind of validated his claims of being a Tory, and everything like that. So... Again, it's going to cause him trouble, but at the same time, it's still kind of a good thing. Like, it's still kind of like something he can put a positive spin on.
Well, and there's other agents, as they said. I mean, one of them's now deceased, but, we don't know how many else they have in there, and if they can somehow figure out that, okay, Abe needs to go over there with now, a chaperone.
It's actually...
If they can...
Do you know much about the history? I was reading more about the history of the last couple weeks. The Culpepers, there is a Samuel Culpeper Sr. and a Samuel Culpeper Jr. that travel together and are these spies. So this is them following historically away, setting up probably a Samuel Culpeper Sr. So we will get someone of an older age that's going to potentially be his father figure.
Maybe Richard will hop on board.
Maybe.
No,
Will
I
turn.
doubt it.
Will turn? Yeah,
He'll turn up
probably
in
not.
the next episode.
Probably. No, you're right. He's
don't-
not gonna be changing the tune anytime soon.
I think it'll just introduce a
Someone
new
new.
character. Yeah.
I agree. We like new characters, though. We're getting a lot of great new characters
Yeah,
in the last
I
few
know.
weeks, so...
I don't think we'll see Richard.
I just hate it when
change.
family members fight. That's all.
Oh. Well, he even made the comment about his, trying to please him like he always does, but
Yeah.
a little bit this week in there and all that good stuff. So he's captured by this unnamed soldier, but is escaped and is actually saved by the British, who he's trying to trick and, he's trying to double cross. So I thought that was an interesting thing that they came to his rescue. They recognized him and are the ones that basically freed him.
Well, it
'Cause
works
they
out
weren't-
for Jim.
I mean, the guy that kidnapped him, like, yay, America, but sometimes it's like, you'd rather have somebody, like, representing our side that wasn't nuts.
Well, again, it kind of shows the spectrum. Like, this guy has his own definition of what freedom really
And liberty, yeah. They talk
really
about the
means.
definitions of liberty and what they're doing. This guy was fine going to the front lines and getting killed.
Well, you said he's
then-
nuts, but he was living in the woods for like 5 months, and all of his friends have been killed. Of course he's nuts.
I know, but it's just like, well, then if you talk about, like, being at the front lines and stuff and he's okay with that, then why, I mean, again, yeah, he's probably got, like, a lot of post-traumatic stress, but, he's not at the front lines anymore. So it's slightly hypocritical for him to say that at that point in time. Again,
A lot's
lost
changed.
his mind.
Well,
Granted,
and he's got
but-
no way of like actually getting back to getting back to
Yeah, his
regiment.
civilization.
Yeah.
Or,
I don't know.
back
He
to his
creeped me
people.
out. I'm just gonna say.
He's back to one place now, and it's not
That's
his
my
regiment.
argument. He creeped me out. It's just not good.
He was a creeper, and I hate him.
But it is good on a good thing, though, that he's killed because Abe did tell him who he was and what he was doing and who he could, contact about this whole mission. So now that he's a loose end,
Well,
essentially.
and
Well, now it's tied up.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
tied up, but he had the option of selling out Abe right then and there. But again, kind of the cause, if he can really believe Abe is telling the truth about being on their side, then he's like he did the right thing by calling him a Tory and everything like that, and then running out and getting killed so that the information couldn't be taken from him.
So it worked out in Abe's
So,
favor.
yeah.
He was freed. The loose ends are tied up. We're good to move on. Last but certainly not least, we got to talk about our good friend Major John Andre.
Yay.
Megan, tell me how you really feel about Major John Andre.
Please.
Oh, least favorite character. Totally least favorite
It's the
character.
Jedi ponytail thing, right?
The
That's what
braid,
did
like
it.
the blonde
braid.
braid?
Yeah.
That's a Padawan braid. I hope you're not
Padawan.
into that.
Who doesn't love Star Wars?
Who's not
Just
I
saying.
have Padawan braid too, you just can't see it. It's under my beard.
We should all just wear one next to me.
Hidden by my beard. No.
His
So
braids.
I said he is progressively becoming more and more my favorite character. Like I said, I just like the maniacal factor that he has, and he's just always plotting, always knows what's going on, and I like characters that are very sharp like that. You know, he knew about, and we saw earlier, and I almost wonder if he was teaching Abigail about eating because he had already figured that out about people that he has been watching over the years. Like, this couldn't have been the first time that this has happened, that someone was sent to him to be a spy.
I think that was more for our benefit, like
Yeah.
as
Right.
an audience, than it was for hers.
And that's just like the proper
the etiquette. So
etiquette that they learn.
So
over
they
there.
would switch hands so that their food would digest, you know, as they're switching hands, and they wouldn't eat as much.
So they don't eat them like Americans.
Double fisting it.
Yeah.
And he was too. If you saw when he was eating, he was shoving it in his
Yeah,
mouth.
really
What's wrong with
quickly.
that, Dylan?
Nothing.
That's why we're the #2 most obese country in the world.
Pizza.
Pizza.
I'm gonna have pizza.
We
for
love
dinner.
I had
Pizza.
pizza. I had pizza for
All right,
dinner.
okay,
I had
that's
one
enough.
too.
That's enough of that. Let's
Don't
turn
prove
it,
our
turn it back
point.
around.
There it is again.
Turn it back around. Turn it back around.
Around.
Okay, so you guys are. We're
I
out of
almost
here.
started singing.
Maybe that should be our turn thing. Every
Ooh,
time
we should play that
Every
music.
time we say turn, we should play
Turn
turn around.
No, we need to
every
talk
now
about
and
John
then.
Andre.
Just do bright eyes, and then it stops.
See, I'm gonna get in trouble because
I've lost all control. It's out of
Old
control.
school.
Done and done.
Okay, let's
Go.
get back to it. Let's
no,
get back
no,
to
it's
it.
fine. So John Andre this week, he's really sucking up to Abigail, if you will. Not sucking up, but making
That's a later episode. Oh.
Whoa.
making
Shame
a partner,
Shame
if
on
you
you.
will.
What? He's
and-
got a history of doing things to people, pleasuring women.
Yes, we know, but
Yeah.
anyway, so he's
I,
making
you know what though?
an ally.
I don't know if he's buttering her up to get information from her quite yet.
Yeah,
I do
because
just tend
she
to think
has
he's
her-
kind of nice
He's
to
a nice
ladies.
guy, right? He's just a nice guy.
Well, I think he likes the women.
It's
So I
true.
think
It's
that's-
hard to tell. Is this, a genuine, like, hey, I'm just being a nice person? Or is it like he's like, people talk, and, in a small town, gossip travels around really, really quickly. And, you're from this small town. You can probably give me information. I'd like to think it's just because he's just being nice, but it's very possible.
I'm not saying though. I don't think he's like, oh, she's a double spy already. I actually don't think that's his intention quite yet with her. I think he tries to get people on his good side, and then I do think he's just. I mean,
Wow.
it's chivalry
Ryan,
a little
He's
bit.
just also charming. Very,
Man,
very
do
charming.
maybe.
Do you think? Does this sound crazy to you?
This sounds-
a powerful man that likes ladies?
no, it sounds right up my alley. So listen, and I think too what you're saying is true
But
because
I'm just saying, like, Simcoe doesn't butter up the women, like John Andre does.
But I
We
think-
saw what he does to Anna.
Yeah, he has a different approach.
He is
Exactly.
totally different. But I
That's
think
what I
too the thing about Andre that we like, and as a viewer and an audience that you like, is because he's a nice guy. I think he already knows that you catch more flies with honey, so he's probably always nice. We see the
That's
way he
actually true.
the way he
because
treats Simcoe, the way he treats
was
Lieutenant Torrance. He's very polite.
infuriated when Simcoe killed the double agent. He was infuriated. He was like, I was going to offer him more money to spy for us.
Yeah, and that's you see that's his philosophy and his theory and he's very nice to everyone. He told the soldiers, get some rest, eat up, we'll have dinner, relax, feel better, welcome home. He was very nice to everyone, and that's a good way to go about his style of manipulation because everyone likes him and it's really easy to get information from them. So, all right, that is like all the time we have. We first have to do one thing, and that's talk about American Express.
Ooh.
Roya, that's you.
My name is Yvonne Saravia, and I am a home health aide. My credit score was very high. It was like 700 something. Then I had like a hiccup in my finances. Everything just crashed. But I don't crawl under a rock and cry. It takes baby steps to get back. So that's what I am doing.
With American Express Serve, you have a full-service prepaid account that helps you handle your money simply and affordably. There's no credit check. You can pay your bills online and reload cash for free at over 15,000 locations, all for $1 a month, and all backed by the 24/7 service of American Express. This is what membership is. This is what membership does.
Get started with an American Express Serve card at CVS Pharmacy or Family Dollar today. Terms and restrictions apply. Go to serve.com for more details.
So the only thing that I want to say about American Express is, Samuel, if you want to come to New York, or from New York rather, to Los Angeles, use your American Express card. You'll get here faster.
Yeah, obviously.
We'd love to have you. Join us on the couch right over here. All right, so
Hey,
that's
I'll
like...
give up my seat. I'll sit on the couch.
Oh, okay.
And
Done.
hopefully we're working on a few more guests. We do have one for sure for the finale.
Ooh.
And it's a character we haven't seen
An
in a
unnamed
while.
guest to come on an unnamed later episode. We will not tell you who, but it's going to be
June 8th.
awesome.
This sounds
Yes.
very
June 8th, I
secretive and very
Amazing.
spy-like.
Yeah.
It's very spy-like.
Ooh.
All right, so speaking of being a spy, we have one thing left to do, and that's talk about your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Kristin, that was adorable.
Sorry.
Cutest little noises came out of her. So,
Just a
Kristin,
little hiccup.
since you're hiccuping over there with excitement
She's
to give
so
us your
ready.
predictions, you should go first. What do you think is going to happen next week?
I think they're gonna somehow. I think I said it earlier that they're gonna try to give Abe a chaperone that's going to also be a spy to help him out. And I'm very interested to see Abigail, now that she's gonna start liking John Andre a little bit, if she will turn.
Dun, dun. Megan?
Well, Simcoe's back in town, and he looks
a
none too
vengeance.
pleased to see Abe there. So I think maybe he might even make a move with Anna and might get rejected, and then we'll hear that Abe and her are having an affair, and maybe that's what prompts him pointing a gun at him in the preview.
Oh, Baker, yeah. Baker was the block there. So yeah.
Ooh. Dylan, what do you think?
This isn't much of a prediction, just something I would love to see. Simcoe talked about how he loved being in the scene with Caleb. I would like to see those roles reversed. See Simcoe torturing Caleb.
Yes. I mean, we'll see.
That's
He
really
does.
cool.
Why
He
do you
even
want
talked
to
about.
see that?
Well, he talked
Because
about
it would be awesome.
the vengeance that Simcoe's coming with
That's
in the
right.
next couple episodes.
See?
So I feel like there's going to be a lot with that, where he's going to start going a little rogue, doing what he wants to do. Especially, I think
Vigilante
he even
justice.
talked about how much he disliked Hewlett. So I think there's going to be
That's true,
something that's
too.
going to happen when he gets back to Setauket here in the next couple episodes. And I want to know what's going to happen with him and Anna. Because I feel like now that Abe's going to find out that he's not dead, even though Anna lied to him, there's going to be a bunch of stuff that's going to go down.
Then he's
gonna
not going
be
to
a
trust
huge
Ben
spy.
anymore, Caleb.
It's going to go down. Hey, Dylan, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Dillon Chance.
Hey, Megan, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at @TheMenguin, that's TheMenguin, and you can also find me on a couple other after shows, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Attack on Titan, and Sword Art Online.
You
Kristin
can
Carole?
find me, Kristin Carole, on Twitter, Kristin Carole13. I'm also on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I'll be doing a few Spotlight Ons coming up and Anatomy of a Movie stuff. So
Oh,
keep an
snap.
eye
And
out.
as always, you can find me at RyanHooks92 on Twitter, on Facebook, and Instagram, and Snapchat. Send me a picture. I like when people send me random pictures of doing stuff.
Careful.
Good times.
I only
Hey,
know about weird stuff on Snapchat.
no, it's fun stuff, like random things. Anyway, for Dillon Chance, Megan Salinas, Kristin Carole, I'm Ryan Hooks. Thank you for tuning into the Turn After Show. We will catch you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.